everyone. This is Carol from Social Media Hope for You and Intentional Conscious Parenting. And today I am so thrilled that I get to interview Kate Buck Jr. Kate Buck is a lady who has changed my life. She created a course called Social Media Manager Pro. And when I found that course, it just totally launched my career. Kate Buck is the co-founder and the agency director at Hey Now Interactive, with a focus on creating integrated social media marketing strategies for clients. Kate naturally incorporates social marketing into business campaigns and promotional activities, building engaged audiences and passionate consumers for her clients and their products. She's worked with some of the top names in online marketing and has consulted with hundreds of entrepreneurs, businesses, and nonprofits around the globe since 2006. Thanks, Kate. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Yeah, big hi to everybody who's joining in.
Hi, yeah.
So, Kate, can you start out and tell us how you started out as a social media manager, and how many years have you been doing this?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I've been doing it for a million years in internet years. I started out, I kind of started out in social media when I didn't really know it. Back in 2006, I got hired by a global corporation to do answer some emails and be a customer support person. It turned out that I was doing it for their online community. And so I did that for about 3 years and soaked up a lot of information. But really my career as a social media manager started in January of 2009. I got my very first client. So I've been in business a little over 5 years now, actually almost rounding out to my 6th year, which is pretty cool. And I basically got started because that job I was telling you about that I had for 3 years was restructuring, and I got laid off, even though we had some really cool successes in that program that the community that we were building there. Right around that time, Facebook was coming out, and we knew our clients and customers were using that instead of our little website, right, to connect with each other, and so we kind of abandoned the project. But in doing so, I ended up venturing out on my own, so it turned out to be a really good thing for me. I really just was taking clients on to just kind of earn some money while I was looking for a job. And everybody had said to get on Twitter, that Twitter was the place to find a job. So I was on Twitter. I was tweeting about all kinds of different things. And then eventually I ended up having so many clients that I realized I didn't have to actually find a job. I could just keep doing my business.
I love that. I love how a downturn in the economy or just a downturn in our life can turn into something just brand new and create a whole new path for us. Because that's pretty much
I was pretty
what was going
devastated
on
at first, but it turned out to be turned out to be really awesome. So
that's awesome. So how did you know when it was time to play a bigger game and create Social Media Manager Pro and expand your business and pass on the knowledge and share with everyone what you were doing, that there was a need and others could do the same?
Yeah, there's always good stories that go with this stuff. But basically, one of the first people that I connected with on Twitter was a guy by the name of Ryan Deiss. And some of you may have heard of him. Didn't mean anything to me at the time, but they were hiring a social media manager, and I applied for the position, but he did not hire me. But we did stay connected because we were, because we both live here in Austin, and we all got along really well. And truly, I learned a lot when I was getting started from him and his organization and business partners. And a few months down the road, I had actually built my company up to where I was doing a consistent $10,000 per month online, and I was set to make $100,000 that year. Which, coming from somebody who was just getting started from nothing, was pretty amazing. And I bumped into Ryan again in March of 2010, and it was at a little conference called South by Southwest, and I was named one of the top people to follow at South by Southwest that year, and I had media coming up to me asking me to do interviews, and I had people wanting to meet me, and Ryan was just blown away. And when I was told him about how my agency was doing and about how I had built my following online, you know, literally from nothing, he actually asked me if I would be willing to share my story and what I had done with other people, so as to help them, you know, follow in my footsteps and do what I had done. And I really didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it would ever be any like big deal or whatever, but I really found a home for myself, more so even in training social media managers than, you know, being a social media manager, even though I still do it because it's the best way to keep my feet in the trenches and know what's going on so that I know what to teach, right? But I really, really love serving the social media manager community. And I do feel like if I can do it, you know, anybody can. And so I just try to carry that torch for the community.
Well, I know I really appreciate it, and it really is a community. I know I never experienced a career path like this where everyone is really kind of non-competitive against each other. Everyone's happy to share what they know and help each other out, and that makes all the difference in the world, especially when you're starting out on a new path.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we have a great group on Facebook and a great community of social media managers. I mean, our job is about community, and so it makes sense that we would have a really cool one within amongst ourselves as well.
Absolutely, very true. So kind of shifting gears a little bit, my audience is halfway social media related and halfway parenting related, kind of wear two hats. So when you were first starting out, when you create a new business, it's like having a new baby. It takes an enormous amount of time and energy. So how did you balance your business and your family, and how did you balance all that?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I mean, the beauty of it is that you're working from home. So part of the balance is you're there, but you may not always be available. So I don't really know. I can tell you that it was definitely a struggle for me in a couple of ways. The first one, and I don't know if this is the answer that you're looking for, but I'll just share what I dealt with. The biggest one was, because I was there didn't necessarily mean that I was available to kids and family. I don't know if you guys know, but my mom lived with me at the time as well. She now lives with my sister, but my mom was living with me at the time. And, you know, so people would knock on the door, or people would, you know, need something. My stepkids would need something, or my husband would have a question. And so one of the first things that we kind of had to establish were some ground rules about when I was available and when I wasn't. And so we had this little thing about, you know, about when the door was closed, it meant you had to knock. And if I didn't answer, it meant that it just like I'm at work, right? Just like I'm at work, right. I'm not available right this time. You guys have to come back in 5 or 10 minutes, or you can slip me a note under the door and I'll answer when I can. Of course, now that the kids were older, they could, you know, just text message me. But so that was actually one of the biggest things about balance, was the fact that, like, I think when we think about balance, we think like, how can I spend more time with the family and balance my business, because it's taking up so much of my time, so that I have more time available for my family. But I actually ran into the opposite problem, where I needed them to understand that just because I was home didn't mean that I was available. Because it was, you know, if I was constantly getting up and being distracted all the time, I really wasn't getting anything done, and that actually would prolong me being in the office, right, or at the office longer, because I would end up working longer days to get stuff done. Now, I don't know how your people on the call are, but I do tend to be a night owl. So if there were things that I could get done at night while everybody was asleep, I would do that. And I'll tell you, it really helped my productivity. Or if you're an early morning person, I think it works the same way, because You get up, early, couple hours before the rest of the sleeping bears, awake, and you have this quiet, productive time. And I'll give you an example about how that kind of bleeds over as well is I really started noticing that, regular holidays that, the bank is closed, those Monday holidays a lot were super productive days for me because my customers weren't, and my clients weren't trying to get a hold of me. I didn't have new business coming in. Social media is a little bit quieter those days. There's not as much activity. And so I really tried to find and take advantage of moments like that, times like that, to really, really be super uber productive and sort of build my day around when I could have quiet time. Because if I could be super productive during those times, then stepping away to hang out and have dinner, watch a movie, or leave on a Monday afternoon and take the kids to a movie during the summer. Summers when the kids are home, it's even more challenging to have your separation of time, right?
Absolutely.
So if I'm super productive during the quiet times, when you're starting your business, if you can really focus and be productive, then you've got more time to spend with the family. I also, we would go on vacation, and I would, when I'm just starting out, I really was working hard and I was working a lot. And I would take the laptop and go on vacation. Again, that's the beauty of the balance, is that I wouldn't work the whole time. I remember maybe 3 or 4 years ago, my husband and I took my stepson Trevor, and we went to Hawaii. And our agreement was I worked until noon every day. And he and Trevor went out and did stuff together on their own. And then, lunchtime, we would meet back up and spend the rest of the day together. So I still had good, productive time to answer emails and do some client work. And of course, by this point, I luckily have somebody helping me out and managing a lot of my client work. But that was great. Here I am on vacation. I'm in Hawaii. I'm in a beautiful condo. And, waking up at 8 or 9 o'clock, getting a few hours of work in. And I enjoy work. So it's not like a drag for me, right? So I keep thinking there's something in my teeth. That's why you keep seeing away.
Nope,
yeah, I feel like there's something in my teeth, but I think it's just the shadow or something like that. But anyways, I would work for a couple of hours, and then and that was great because that allowed my well, it's now my ex-husband, but at the time that allowed my husband and my stepson some good time without me, and it made me feel really good that I was still getting a little bit done each day, and I didn't come back to like this massive pile of work while I was gone. So I do unplug, I do disconnect. But the balance is that is in the fluidity of it, so that I don't, is in the fact that I can take the kids to the park and take my laptop if I want to. I can put it away and hang with them and give them time, and I can open it and use it when I want to as well. So I really enjoy it, and I rather enjoy it, and that's really sort of how I balance.
Okay. Yeah, I love the flexibility it gives us when we work for ourselves. I really love that the most. But yes, you have to be good at having some boundaries and drawing some good lines. So my next question is do you have any advice for work-at-home mothers who may be just starting out with their own new business, maybe as a social media manager?
Well, I gave some good stuff in there, but I think the biggest thing that everybody starts out with, especially maybe if you've been out of the workforce for a little while, being stay-at-home mom, but really, truly, this is across the board, is confidence. Everybody really, really struggles with confidence. I know because you've been on a lot of my Q&A calls and you've been around in my groups for a while. And one of the things I feel like I'm constantly talking about is just not getting it perfect, not getting it right, but just getting started. Do something. And a lot of times we think a lot of times we're doing things, but we're only doing these things because we're procrastinating. See, the truth is in order to get a social media client, truly you need, it's great if you have some training, and that's why I offer it, of course, but you don't need a lot of training. You don't need to be an absolute expert. You don't need this world-class website. You don't need a lot of things. My very first client that I got, I didn't have a website. I didn't even know I was in business. I was just trying to make some money, and somebody asked if I could help them with their Twitter account, if I could follow some people for them and do their following back and make sure that their DMs were answered and post some tweets for them. And I said, sure. So getting that very first client is the most important thing. And we struggle with that, and we procrastinate, and we make it harder than it is. But the reason that we do those things is not because it's the order that things need to go in, or because that's how business is done. Like, oh, I need a website before I get a client, because if I have a website, that means I have a business. No, you have a business when someone gives you money.
Right.
It is helpful if you have a website, but if you're using that as an excuse to not go out, or if you're saying that you need to learn more, and that's why you're not going out and getting a client, a lot of these things should be red flags for you. That really, the truth is, my most successful social media managers are the ones that just are go-getters, and they really, they go out, and if they get no's, they just keep going, and they keep going, and they keep going, and it's more about mindset and what's between your ears rather than a lot of the technical stuff and all of that. That's about being a business owner. To me, being a business owner is the best personal development program you could ever put yourself into. So working for yourself is like self-help 101. You will come up against everything that stops you in life, in your relationships, with your finances and your money, of course, with your kids. I mean, whatever stops you in life from having whatever it is that you want is going to come up when you try to run your own business. So a lot of what it takes to be a business owner is more up here than it is being the expert in your industry.
That is very, very, very true. You would be a really good self-help coach.
I work on coaching. I still have a lot of coaching to do for myself. So, but I do, but I've been there. And so I know the days when I've lost a client, I've been really bummed out. I've known the feeling of the industry's changing so fast. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I do know now, trying to, once you have a few clients under your belt and then you're trying to grow your business, I'm in that place right now as well, where, I'm a few years ahead and my business is established, but I want to grow my business to the next level too. So what do you think I'm coming up against? Same stuff, all the stuff in my head that has me, yay, so I have a 6-figure agency, but you know what? Now I want to make 7 figures, right? So what is it going to take to propel me to 7 figures is the same stuff between my ears that stops somebody who's trying to get to 6 figures or who's just trying to get their very first client. It is.
That's so true.
Whatever stops you in life is just what stops you.
I'll hear millionaires say that they'll have blocks from getting them to the next level. You just have to keep pushing through. That's awesome.
Yep.
Very happy to hear that you were successful in your business. My next question is about teens and tweens, because they are so comfortable with the online world and the apps they play with, and they post anything and everything. I don't even think they realize the consequences of some of the stuff that they put online. Mm-hmm. And my sons are older now, so it's not such a big concern for me and my husband anymore. But I know a lot of parents are concerned with, what their kids are putting on. What do you recommend parents do to keep their children safe online?
Yeah, this is a tough one because I've dealt with it. I have some of you know, I've had 2 stepkids. My stepdaughter was in an accident about a year ago, but when she was 18. But my stepson is 16, and I have been dealing with them and technology since the beginning. And part of it is that I'm a horrible influence, right? Like everything that I don't want them to be doing is what I'm doing because I'm always on social media. So I feel like I sometimes didn't set the very best example about phone time and what's appropriate and not appropriate. I really think the answer to this question, it's so challenging. There's two sides to it. I think that one starts with your parenting style and being involved in creating spaces for open conversations with your kids way before it's ever time for them to get a cell phone. I don't know what age parents are giving kids cell phones these years, but I know that mine started asking me for them around 9.
It's even younger now.
And
Yeah.
I tell you, especially being from a co-parenting arrangement, you know, what was allowed and what happened at one house, you know, the rules were different somewhere else. And so that makes it even more challenging. And I remember me being really strict about not allowing MySpace profiles. And then I would come home and check browser history. And I'd see her on MySpace under the fake name and a fake email. So we had all of this stuff where like if she had an email account, I had to have, you know, the password, I had to have the password. And if we agreed to set up a social media profile, I was given the password. But these kids are smart. They started deleting their browser history. They know to double delete their email from their trash. And now with stuff like Snapchat, right? It's like it's the whole point that it's invisible and gone. So I think the kids that I've seen that, you know, use technology the most responsibly are the ones that have come from really good conversations just all together about what it is to be good. I think you should expect some testing of the boundaries with your kids, with what they're going to try to post online. But then that's the time for you to come in. Like I remember when I found Rainie's MySpace profile, you know, she lost internet privileges for a while. Until they were 13, if they were using the computer, they needed to be in the public area of the house. They weren't allowed to use the computer in a room with a door closed. I know I was pretty strict, but man, you know, I just, and then only for certain periods of time. And I think the same thing with like video games and stuff. We got, as much as a proponent of technology that I am, I really want to stress that we really should be limiting the amount of time our kids are staring at screens and living in a virtual world. And I know that's the way that we're going, and there's nothing we can do to help that. And I'm certainly not like a futurist or anything like that, but I do think that to cultivate healthy minds and healthy future adults, that, you know, social interaction and too much virtual stimulation is, there's a lot of science behind what it does to the brain. And they start thinking the same recurring thoughts and firing the same neurons, right, over and over again. And then they're creating these patterns that they're then create habits that influence their personality. And as they get older, they become, you know, an extension of those thoughts versus being curious and being out and exploring. There are really good things. So I don't want you to end up now getting all these comments from people. I'm not trying to say that I am an expert in this field by any means. But so what I did try to do was I just tried to foster open conversations with them from the beginning. And I wanted them to know why I was so strict. And a lot of it was the stranger danger conversation. I did monitor their profiles. I did have the password so they could log in, because I wanted them to know that whatever communications they were having with their friends was stuff that, you know, I could potentially see if I wanted to. And that way they would be on, you know, better behavior. And when I saw something that I didn't like, or when they weren't following the rules, you know, they lost privileges. When they got their cell phones, same thing, that little lock code on their phone. If they had a cell phone, I had the lock code
Okay,
so that
that's a
I
good
could
idea.
log into their phone. Now I think there's actually an app that you can put on your phone where you can monitor. So there's a balance, like there is with everything. I think there's a balance between teaching responsibility and then allowing them the freedom to sort of demonstrate that responsibility. And then there's the matter of, you know, again, like I said, I'm not an expert, but I would tell Rainey all the time, and Trevor, there's a sliding scale between freedom and responsibility. When you're a kid, you feel like you don't have any freedom. You have to do what your parents tell you when they tell you, right? But you really don't have a lot of responsibility either. You're not responsible for making sure that you eat or that there's electricity or a roof over your head, right? Your parents also have all the responsibility. And as you get older and you're becoming an adult, the good news is, because Rainey used to always say to me, can't wait till I'm an adult and I can spend my money on whatever I want to. And I'm like, well, good luck with that.
Right.
You gotta get a job, and then you gotta pay bills. You are fully free to do whatever you want with your life, but all the responsibility to manage your life is also on you. There's none on your parents. So as they got older, what we're trying to do is give them more freedom, but it's proportional to how responsible are they managing that freedom. And if they get responsible with it, then we pull back and we go back a step and kind of start over and go, okay, now you're back to this much freedom because you took advantage of your responsibility. And then we'd go to the next step. And I was that way with technology. And then until about the time that they got to be 16. And at that point, I really felt like I need to just, at this point, protect them from danger and harming themselves or others. But as far as managing how they interact with technology, I really have no influence over that, except for to say things like, hey, I really didn't like what you posted. I know my stepson, his girlfriend, was posting some pictures of herself, and she's a very beautiful young woman. And, I said, I'm not your mom, but I do work in digital communications. And once a picture is taken, whether you think it's private on somebody's phone, it exists on a server in the internet somewhere, and it is on file and record in history.
It's permanent.
So I'm not telling you what to do because, one, she wasn't my kid, but two, at that age, they're going to do what they want anyway. But I want you to do it knowing the full consequences of what's happening, is that photo could end up anywhere. And every time you take one, you run that risk. Whether you post it online, excuse me, I was just taking off my shoes there. Whether you post it online or not, whether you just keep it on your phone and you think it's private, whether it's in one of those photo vaults that you have to put in an extra passcode or not, it doesn't matter. That image now exists. And it's never going away. So if you're cool with it possibly showing up online someday, then great. But if not, just don't do it, or think about that ahead of time.
Especially because it can really influence their chances for jobs in the future. I mean, a lot of employers will go looking at a person's history online to see what kind of person they are.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of that. There was I'm not a fan of the conversation. There was some celebrity photos, that came out, and everybody was saying, well, hey, here's the solution. If you don't want those photos to come out, you shouldn't take them. I think that puts responsibility on the people who actually share them. Stuff like, there's the stuff is just impactful. It can come out. Yes. It may come out. It may influence you in the future. If even stuff that doesn't impact you now, like you're saying, maybe you're, like college kids post a lot of pictures of them drunk and, parties or whatever, and they're not thinking about when they graduate that, you're going to be able to see those. I am really a fan and a person that says express yourself, but just know the consequences of what you're doing so that you're at full choice when you do it. So I'm not going to tell you whether to post that stuff or to not post that stuff. What I do want you to do is I want you to make an informed decision before you do it. And I feel like if I give you this information or have this conversation with you, that now you know it, and now you can make a more informed choice. And if you still choose to post it, you still choose to take those pictures, you still choose to, one of the implications people don't think about is like with Periscope.
I know.
I was even at like I was at a VIP dinner mixer about a month or so ago, and everybody's on the dance floor and partying and having fun and celebrating the end of this event that we had all worked really hard for. And I didn't think anything of it, but somebody's walking around periscoping the whole thing. Now, I mean, I'm fine acting like an idiot on camera, but I wonder if everyone at that party, the closing party for that event, realized that they were being filmed and that it was being uploaded to the internet. And if so, like, do you need their permission? I mean, these are questions we need to be thinking about. Like, do you need permission to do that? And I don't think there's any way to really manage and moderate that on a mass scale. So the idea is like, almost like Big Brother. You should just know that wherever you are, there's possibly someone taking a picture of you, and it's up to each one of us to just be fully informed and make the most responsible choices for ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. That's great advice. Yeah, it's kind of creepy that you just never know when you're being filmed anymore. You just have no idea. So you're online, you're everywhere. Do you have a favorite platform? Do you prefer Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or Meerkat, or is there a favorite?
I love all of them for their different reasons. I think you'll see me on Facebook more these days. So you would think that I would prefer it, but I guess I do prefer it because I get the most engagement there. But I love having conversations on Twitter, and I love Twitter chats. You really can't replicate that on any of the other social networks. And I love looking at pictures on Instagram, much different than even scrolling pictures on Facebook or Twitter, because you have other updates in between. And I definitely love being on Pinterest. I love being on Pinterest. We're using Google Hangouts to record this. I love Google Hangouts as far as Google Plus is concerned. LinkedIn is probably one that I don't get on the most, but I know that there are people that just love it because it's really useful for them in their business. And as far as like Periscope is concerned, I have not dug in. I've done like 3 or 4 scopes. I haven't really dug in to use it. I know I should. I'm kind of being rebellious right now. Like, I need one more platform to be on. But, I love that idea of real-time video. So yeah, I'm a lover of social media and technology altogether, and I love them each for what they have to offer. But if there's one place to go that you get the biggest bang for your buck, the amount of time that you invest and what you can get out of it, even personally and professionally, by the way, it's probably Facebook.
Okay, I agree. I like them all for all their different things they bring to the table and different audiences. Not everyone is going to follow you. If someone's following you on Facebook, doesn't mean they're going to be over on Pinterest or Twitter, so you can kind of diversify that way. I really enjoy that as well. So my next question is, the internet world is ripe for entrepreneurs right now. I mean, there's a lot of people booming with their own businesses. Do you feel the economy hinders or enhances someone's ability to create something new?
Yeah, I think it actually, it's kind of both, but I think it's more so on the side of creating opportunity. And I say that because no matter what you want to do, like we talked about raising our kids, my mom didn't know I was going to grow up and be a social media manager. We don't know what the future holds for our kids in terms of technology and what jobs they're going to have and all of that stuff. And so as more platforms come out, as things evolve, as there's more social media, as there's more technology in our life, as far as the opportunities for what we can do with it, they become greater. And then you'll see, there's less and less job openings right now, or, people hiring just a social media manager. But there are more postings and where social media skills are required. So as somebody who wants to go into HR, somebody who wants to go into customer support, somebody who wants to be in, marketing, reputation management, somebody who wants to be in management, no matter where you are, what you want to do in terms of providing value to the world, having social media skills is great. Why? Because we really are just taking that social ecosystem from that we live in offline and bringing it online. So I'm a big fan of it. I find, I think it's really cool. One of my friends completely hopped off Facebook and is just doing Periscope now. And I love it because even though he had, a lot of friends and was using it for business purposes, he just loved Periscope. And so he went over there. And he's got a great following over there and he enjoys it. And so I think, I think more is good because it provides more opportunity. The downside is that, yes, there are more social media professionals out there, so it is more competitive. So the competition is good, though. The cream will rise to the top, excuse me. But also it's important for us, I get flack a lot because I don't really keep up with my Facebook fan page as well as I should, and I'm not on Twitter as much as I should, and all these things to be considered a social media expert, but I don't really care. Again, for me, it's about finding focus and about doing what works for me, and so kind of narrowing that focus has been super helpful. And so as more and more platforms come out, I'm not immediately jumping on Periscope because it doesn't yet fit or work for what I'm up to. And so I think everyone needs to, bottom line is think for yourself. But the good news is that the more opportunity there is, the more diversification of technology, the more it becomes kind of ingrained in our life, the more opportunities for starting an internet business or having a job that, a really great job that you can telecommute or whatever is possible.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, I've been on Meerkat a few times myself. I haven't done Periscope. From what I know, is Periscope is only available for 24 hours unless something new has changed. And so I kind of didn't really like that. I like the fact that with Meerkat, with Catch.me, I can save my streams permanently so I can repurpose them because I just don't want to spend an hour talking and not be able to use that content elsewhere multiple times. So I don't know, I kind of have leaned towards Meerkat. But my next question is what apps do you use to keep yourself and your business organized?
I'm an old school girl and I'm kind of like a purist. So, I mean, honestly, we use, obviously we use all the Google apps and Google technology. So we run a lot of our business using Google spreadsheets and stuff like that. So we're not emailing files back and forth to each other. Hangouts is a huge part of our business because I can have a call with you like this where I can be teaching you, training you, and I can record it and it's automatically on my YouTube. I can share my screen. And so Hangouts is a critical part of our business. Obviously, we use WordPress and a whole host of web technology to deliver our content to our customers. And internal communication, we use a lot for our business. We actually use a little app called HipChat, but any type of tool like Skype or even the Google technology you could use. I like HipChat because it streamlines our internal communication, whereas like Skype, I have friends and, you know, stuff from all over. So really, honestly, the Google, you know, we are powered by Google over here to some degree with how much I use that stuff on a daily basis. And then, of course, you know, a huge part of our business is Facebook. We do really try to stay diversified over here because it's not good to put all your eggs, I mean, so I just got done saying you need to focus, but it isn't good to keep all your eggs in one basket. So, you know, you hear a lot of times about people's Facebook accounts getting shut down, or if they're running bad ads. We see that come up in our group and stuff all the time. So you do still want to have a presence on the other social channels. And of course, you want to own your own website and your own home and try to build an email list and do things like that. And I could say if there's one strategy that we're really kind of focusing on at the moment is retargeting, because that's helping keep people's eyeballs or keep us top of mind, keep us in front of our customers without having them to opt into a list or like us on Facebook or take any action.
Okay, that's awesome. Where do you see the future of social media headed?
Gosh, I really could say my answer from earlier about how it's becoming more integrated and diversified. I think you'll see it. It's kind of like almost like it's going away in a sense from being like its own thing, and it's more like becoming part of everything. So, you know, I mean, there's refrigerators that you can tweet from now. You know, the Internet of Things, as, you know, technology advances, it's just, I think social media is really going to kind of like be invisible, a layer that is of life that just exists, but it isn't independent of everything, of the other things that we do.
Okay, yeah, it's not its own thing anymore. I agree with that. So what's the most important message for you to personally share with the world? Final question.
Most important message for me to share with the world?
Yeah. What's Kate Buck Jr. say? What's your best advice or takeaway from life? I know you've been through so much the last few years. I've watched your growth, and yeah, where are you at right now? I mean, what would you like to share?
The pressure. Where I'm at right now really is, and what I would share is that I believe that whatever we want to do, whatever we want to create, it is possible. It's all about believing in ourselves and believing that it's possible. And it starts there. And then if we believe that in ourselves that we can do it, and we believe that it's possible, then we start doing it. And it's important that we keep that vision alive for ourselves. And it's important to keep representing what we're working so hard for, you know, for whatever that is that you want. Whether it's that you want to travel or spend more time with your family, or whether it's, you know, for me, I want the freedom to like wake up and just do yoga and meditate all day. And that's my big why, right? That's why I work so hard. But I also work really hard because I want that for other people. And Social Media Manager Pro is just one way that I can help people. And like you said earlier, motivational speaker or whatever, I'm really not, but I do help change lives through showing people the opportunity of being a social media manager. And so again, that's my vehicle, right? That's, you know, the thing I believe is that I'm here to make a difference. And the way I do that is I help people quit their jobs and work from home. And what that does is it allows them to accomplish whatever it is that is important to them. So that's what I would say is what I want to leave people with. And like I said at the beginning, I feel like if I can do it, anybody can. And the only thing I would really want to add to that is that what I'm learning for myself anyway, is that the only way I will really actually accomplish those things that I believe in, and I'm going to be a little like woo-woo-y here or whatever, but it's really
I love it.
love for self and love for others.
Absolutely.
So being more caring, more compassionate, more forgiving, and more mindful about, in general, you know, is what will, is no matter what path I take, those things are the way, you know, the practices to get me there. And so, yeah, believe in yourself. Believe that whatever you want, you can make happen. And all you have to do is be kind to yourself and others, and keep your vision alive. Keep believing in yourself even when you bump up against roadblocks. And I believe, you know, you will accomplish whatever you set your mind to.
That's wonderful. Great, great advice. You're such a wise woman. I love it. I connect with a lot of what you just said. So to finalize our interview, and thank you again so much for joining me. I know we both worked really hard at pulling this off.
I know.
We just had so much stuff going on between both of us. But tell everybody where they can find you and connect with you at online.
Yeah, I mean, you can just search Kate Buck Jr., and you can find me on all the social media platforms. Of course, like I said, following me on Facebook is the best way to kind of sneak peek into my daily life, which is sometimes pretty comical. But then also, you have a link for them if they are interested in checking out our Social Media Manager Pro course. There'll be a link somewhere with this post that they can, click to watch a video about it.
Yep, and they can learn all about it.
Yeah, I'd love for people to do that and watch the Social Media Manager Pro video if that is what speaks to you to help you on your life path that we just talked about.
All right, thank you so much.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
All righty, bye-bye.
Bye.